Brought to you by ExpressCare Health and Skin Center. Get in, get out, get better.
Welcome back, everybody. Nausea is known by many, many names here on the island. Some people say, I feel nauseous, I feel queasy, I feel sick to my stomach. Depending, it doesn't matter. Unfortunately, most people have to go through that, and that's why we have the very appreciated talents of the very lovely Dr. Jitka Lom from ExpressCare here. Now, doctor, we've talked about different types of migraines and the things that may cause them and everything. How about queasiness in general as a side effect of other things, like perhaps migraines or or other things like the flu?
You're correct, actually. Right, fever, pain, both of those things can cause you to feel nauseated. Why? The body's very clever. When you have those type of symptoms, pain and fever, you really shouldn't be eating at that time. So the body's clever, it shuts you down, makes you nauseated, so you will not be tempted, let's say, to fill your stomach. You probably should continue to be drinking water to rehydrate yourself. That will help your nausea. But it's a mechanism that the body has for turning off digestion, not adding more tasks to what it's already dealing with.
The body does not the body does multitask very, very well, but
yeah,
not in
it's
that.
very clever.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you talked about motion sickness before. Are there any exercises that one can do? Because like here at KUM, we've gone out and we've shot like on boats, on planes, in moving vehicles and everything like that. And every once in a while, like some of our videographers will say, like I got really dizzy, or some will even get seasick.
Right.
For my colleagues and I, and for everybody out watching there, are there any like exercises that we can do or practice to
well, people do
that?
well. I guess doing it more often. People do get sea legs, or if they're call that sea legs. Basically, after a while of being on a boat, you get used to it. Then when you get back on land, you feel like you're still moving when you're not. Same with roller coasters and so on. So practice does help. That's a conditioning response that your brain will do. And then the other thing, though, is if you know it's coming up, just take some medication. It's really much easier, to avoid the problem.
Okay. I see on the back of a lot of medicines, like if you have like a Pepto-Bismol or stuff like that, it says if you are feeling queasy, sometimes it'll say, take a dosage or two of this product and then, tolerate the queasiness. That's a lot easier for them to say than it is for me to go through.
That may be, certain medications are really upsetting to people. As a common one is antibiotics. Doxycycline really upsets people's stomach. Erythromycin. These are ones that we always know are going to upset people's stomachs. So we can warn people, but typically if they take it with a little tiny bit of food, it may help.
For women, again, that are expecting, motion sickness can be more severe in different women. Again, you mentioned, the fact that you're expecting twins. I guess it's also on the biochemistry of the individual woman. But my 8th grade PE teacher, she loved to drink, fruit juice, and she was doing all that stuff all the time. But in particular, citrus juice would make her incredibly sick the next morning, and she'd be terribly nauseous the next day.
It's true. Citrus and oranges can aggravate nausea.
Is that because of the way the acids?
I'm not sure why. It's just a pattern that people notice. Lemon, on the other hand, may not be quite so bad, but citrus, like as oranges and so on, tends to aggravate.
In addition to ginger, are there any things that we can buy in the store to say, like, someone's like, oh, like, Mom, I got a tummy ache, or, like, okay, well, here are some cornflakes with Tabasco, or,
I don't think that would be
now that was speculative,
No. Well, we would really want to just try to stick with water, especially with children. You don't really want to medicate children too much. If they're feeling nauseated, there's probably something happening. They're either maybe coming down with a fever or a flu, or sore throat. Something's happening to them where you just want to maybe monitor. There is some wisdom in just hydrating and allowing the body to go through its process. If you need to vomit, you're removing whatever toxins are there that they're upsetting your stomach. So typically not medicating children for nausea is usually a good idea. Okay,
and then I guess final question, can you differentiate, for the benefit of our viewers, what's the difference, like if you're a caretaker, a nanny, a new parent, between general nausea and your garden variety stomach ache? Oh, I'm hungry, or I ate too much, or like I may have had like a bad taco or something.
Well, I think in the situation of having eaten something, that's not agreeing with you, it will pass usually within an hour or two as your stomach contractions again get back to their more normal pattern. If the thing isn't going away, you continuing to have nausea, especially if it's going along with other symptoms, then you really need to get checked out. I'd say if it's more than 2 or 3 days of nausea, you really should go and get checked.
Is nausea accompanied by, like sometimes, when we have the stomach flu, we have stomach cramps, like accompanied either by, by vomiting or diarrhea. You'll hear your stomach and
Rumbling.
those acids will you'll rumble, or you hear like a lot of like squishy sounds, or like it's constantly turning and everything like that. Does nausea make any sounds?
No, that's a great question.
Okay.
Nausea doesn't make any sounds. It's actually occurring, there are stomach contractions again, but the experience of nausea is happening in your brain. So there aren't any sounds associated with that.
Well, on that, we are going to end this segment because that was a really good thing to know. So for parents out there, if your child is complaining